Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video we are going to be doing this full face of makeup using all drugstore / inexpensive products. I've been wanting to do a video like this for a while because I do love drugstore and inexpensive brands. I feel like there's so many great brands to choose from nowadays that really don't break the bank. So yeah, I created this really glam kind of like sexy, warm, smoky eye, and I really like it. So I hope you guys do too. If you aren't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button and hopefully you keep on watching. So if you want to see how to get this look, then just keep watching. Alright guys, so the first thing I'm going to be doing is taking the Rimmel Stay Matte Primer. This is my favorite primer as of recently. I don't really like heavy primers anymore. They just don't do it for me. I just feel like they're unnecessary. So I really love this because it does keep me matte and it does keep my makeup on, but it's very lightweight. Like it just feels like a lotion on the skin. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of this, and it's super inexpensive, so you can't really go wrong with that. So now I'm going to be taking the Infallible Fresh Wear L'Oreal Foundation. You guys know my love for this if you've been following me. I've talked about it so many times, but this is definitely my favorite drugstore foundation right now. I haven't really tried any new ones, so I do want to try some of the newer foundations because this has been out for a little while, but I'm going to mix shade 460 and 425. I do want to mention this sponge real quick because it is very inexpensive and you can't get it at the drugstore. However, you can order it on shopmissa.com and it's $1, you guys. It's only $1. I will say it gets stained very easily and it is kind of hard to get these stains out of this sponge in particular compared to other sponges that I've tried, but it's super soft. As you can see, it's really big and it does the job. Okay, so the next two products I'm going to be using is concealer, and I'm going to be mixing two different kinds because, to be honest with you, these are the only two drugstore concealers that I own, but they are both very good. So this is the CoverGirl True Blend Undercover Concealer. This is in the shade Golden Natural, and then this is the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer, and this is in Medium Peach, which isn't so medium peach to me. It kind of looks like very light, but whatever. So we're going to use this to kind of color correct a little bit, and then this one is going to do the brightening for us. Switching to a smaller sponge. This is the Real Techniques mini sponges, and I've been obsessed with these with blending out my concealer. I just love the size of it. I feel like sometimes a sponge like this is just too big for these areas. I like something a little bit smaller so I can kind of be a little bit more precise with my blending. the day today is to try and not get makeup all over this white shirt. So now I'm going to go in with the Essence Brighten Up Banana Powder, and I'm going to use this to set before we go in with a loose powder. I like to set with a pressed powder before I go in with any type of baking or loose powder. I just find it gives a more flawless finish. Sometimes when you go in with a really loose powder on top of wet concealer, it can kind of clump up or take away coverage. So you're going to want to set your concealer first with a pressed powder and then go in with a loose powder. And I'm also going to use this to set the center of my face as well. Now going in with the Maybelline Loose Fit Me Powder in Fair, I'm going to shake this up to get some product at the top. And we're going to use this to set underneath our eyes in the center of our face to really lock everything in. This is honestly one of the best powders I've ever used from the drugstore, and just in general I just love the coverage of it. I love how it has a little bit of color to it, so it does do a lot of brightening, and it just makes your skin look so smooth. And then with the shade Lights, I'm going to use this to set the rest of my face. I'm just going to use a powder puff for this part. So what I'm going to do, oh my god, I'm like so scared I'm going to get this all over my shirt. I'm just going to dip the powder puff into the product and then just kind of work it into the cap just to make sure I'm kind of getting off some of the extra. And then we're just gonna pat that on the rest of our face. So now we're gonna go in with the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in the shade Deep. And we're just gonna bronze up our skin. Bronze up a little bit more. This is a much lighter bronzer. This is the Milani Baked Bronzer in Dolce. And this just kind of adds like a more of like an overall bronzy glow. It doesn't really do a ton of bronzing, but I do like this bronzer. The Milani Baked Blush in Coralina. We're going to apply this to the apples of our cheeks. Honestly, Milani products are probably my favorite in regards to face products in the drugstore. I just feel like they are just really nice, and they just work super well. I mean, Milani blushes are very, very popular. Their bronzers are really good, just pretty much everything. Their foundation's good, their concealer's good. I really do like Milani, and it's probably one of my top favorite brands in the drugstore. Now for the highlight, I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild I'm So Lit Loose Highlighter. This is my favorite loose highlighter that I've ever, actually my favorite highlighter I've ever tried from the drugstore. I just feel like the pigment on this is amazing. You could even use this on your eyes. It's just a really good highlighter. Okay, so we're done with the face. I actually really love this face. There is one weird thing that happened on my nose, and I think it was because I didn't blend in my primer all the way, because there's just one patch on my nose where the foundation isn't sticking to. I didn't notice it until literally like a few minutes ago, but other than that, my face looks flawless. Like, it looks like butter, and I think the combination Well, I think the reason why is the combination of that foundation, the L'Oreal foundation, and the Maybelline Fit Me powder. You just can't go wrong with it. It literally makes your skin look like butter. So anyways, I'm gonna put some of this face products away so we can bring out the eye stuff and get going on these eyes. Okay, moving on to eyes, I'm gonna be priming with the e.l.f. 24-hour camo, or no, 16-hour camo concealer. And yeah, so I don't really have like a favorite drugstore eye primer because I always use the P. Louise base. However, I have used this concealer in particular as an eye base, and it does a great job. It's very similar to like Tarte Shape Tape. Okay, now that eyes are primed, we're going to be going in with the ColourPop Double Entendre palettes. I love this palette. It's one of my go-to like everyday palettes because it kind of has all the shades you would need for an everyday look. Now I know ColourPop is not sold at drugstores like CVS and Walgreens, but it is literally the same price point as drugstore brands, so why can't I use it? You know, I think it's fair that I use this. In fact, I think ColourPop, some of ColourPop eyeshadows palettes are cheaper than like Milani eyeshadow palettes. So I think this was only like $12. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I got this for only like 12 bucks. So I'm gonna start with this shade right here. And this is the shade Send Noodles. With this shade right here, which is called Extracurricular, I think. Yeah, Extracurricular. With the 24-hour e.l.f. concealer, and we're going to cut our lid, and I'm just going to use a really tiny little concealer brush for this step. Now I'm going to go in with the Wet n Wild's I'm So Lit powder. And this is going to be our lid shade. Then we're going to go in with this dark brown here, which is called Keep It PG. And this is going to go on the outer corner right here. Then we're going to go back in with that like reddish brown shade that we used, and that's going to go right next to that Keep It PG color, in between that color and the lid color. Now going in with my favorite liquid liner, I wouldn't say ever, but it's my current favorite from the drugstore. It is the CoverGirl Get In Line, what is it called? It just says liquid liner, but this is extremely matte, and they have a different version of this as well. One that has more of like a shiny finish, so just be careful if you get this. It should say matte on the packaging, but yeah, this is so black and so matte. It's like very, very intense. So I'm just going to shake this up, and it has a very nice fine felt tip. And I'm going to give myself a dramatic wing because that is what I'm feeling today. using the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Last Longwear Eye Pencil. That's a mouthful. In what shade? This, why can't I find the shade? Burgundy. Then I'm going to take the darkest brown from the Double Entendre palettes, and we're just going to smudge out that liner. I'm going to be taking a fluffy brush and the first shade that we used on our eyes, which is that light brown, and I'm just going to blend out the darker brown, which I think it was called Keep It PG. Then I'm just going to apply the highlight color that we used on our lid on the inner corner. Now I'm going to go back in with the liquid liner, and I'm actually going to kind of give myself like a little bit of a cat eye shape on the inner corner. This just kind of gives your eyes like a little bit more of an exotic shape. And I don't know, I just like to do this sometimes when I'm going for more of a dramatic look. Now I'm just going to go in with some mascara. And my favorite drugstore mascara by far is the Lash Sensational Fan Effect by Maybelline. I don't know, I've been using this mascara for the last year, I would say. I don't really switch up my mascara that often, but I just really like this. Okay, now time for lashes, and for lashes I'm going to be using these guys here. So if I can find them, I will link them down below. These are not from the drugstore, they're from AliExpress, but all of these I believe were under $5, and they're made with mink. So they're really inexpensive, cheaper than most drugstore lashes. So I'm going to try them out. I haven't tried them out yet, but they are very, very full and pretty long, so hopefully they're not too long. So for lip liner, we're going to be going in with the NYX Cosmetics Nude Truffle Lip Liner. This has been one of my go-to lip liners for honestly years. I love the NYX lip liners, and this and Nutmeg are like my two favorites, but I can't find Nutmeg anymore, so I'm kind of sad about it. But also, I think it's light brown. That's a good one too. Taking two of my favorite nudes from the drugstore, and that is 650 Nude Embrace and 910 Bare It All, and these are both by Maybelline, right? Maybelline? Yes, Maybelline. Bare It All is one of like the palest nudes I own. Like, it is really, really pale, but it is such a nice color to use like on top of darker nudes if you want to just kind of brighten them up a little bit. I'm going to be adding the Vivid Hot Lacquer in the shade Tease, also by Maybelline, in the center of my lips. And I'm just going to finish everything off with a setting spray. This one is by Milani, and it is the Make It Last setting spray, which is a great drugstore setting spray. Probably one of the better ones I've tried. I also really like Flower Beauties as well, but I don't have that one. But the spray on the Flower Beauty one is so good because it's the like finest mist. This could be a little intense when you spray it. It's not my favorite like spray nozzle, but it works. Alright you guys, so that concludes this drugstore makeup look or drugstore slash inexpensive products makeup look. I hope you guys like it. I know it's really dramatic, but I love it. And it just goes to show that you could have a flawless looking face that looks like you used products that were like hundreds of dollars, but they're from the drugstore and they're really inexpensive. And honestly, drugstore makeup has really stepped up their game, and there's so many great inexpensive brands out there. Not all of them you can find in the drugstore. Some of them are just like online only. There really is so many great brands to choose from when it comes to inexpensive makeup. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next video.